Welcome back to the Virtually Vikings radio show, the half-hour program that will be discussing all things St. John's River State College. Each week we'll be spotlighting a new program, events, or resources that are offered through the college. I'm your host, Mickey Johns. Thank you all for joining today. Today we're going to be discussing all things Vikings Days of Service with Dr. Christina Will and Chuck Romer. Thank you both for joining me, Dr. Will and Mr. Romer.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Let's start with, in case people didn't hear our show in the fall, what exactly is the Viking Days of Service?
So Viking Days of Service is an initiative the college started in 2019 to provide our students and employees and our community members ways to meaningfully engage with the community through acts of service. So we fall into service and we spring into service. And those service days are around other kind of nationally recognized days of service. So our day of service falls on the Friday either before or after Martin Luther King Day, and again the Friday before or after September 11th. So we have one coming up, which will be Friday, January 24th. We're going to spring into service. And we have 27 projects for this day of service coming up.
Oh, that's amazing. What exactly inspired Viking Days of Service to begin with? Why does the college do it?
It was an initiative started by one of our college administrators. At the time, she was the dean for academic affairs, and just recognized that service was something that we should promote both within our employee population, but for our students, that it was just an important way for us to connect with the community that we serve. So we do this in all three counties that the college serves. And we found it's a really great way for, again, not just our employees and students to go out into the community, but for our community members to realize that we're a resource for them and for us to partner together in ways that we never have before. It's been great.
And when you're saying partnering, we're not just doing this community service for them. Community can participate with us. It's not just students and staff.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We have a website that if you go to the college's website and look on the community tab, you'll see Viking Days of Service listed. And some of our projects require registration, and we welcome the community to register for any of those. And then some of them don't require any registration at all. So for example, next Friday, we're doing a blood drive on each campus. And that's purely come when you want. You can make an appointment in advance if you'd like to, but you don't have to. And we have some donation drives going on. So we have some things like that don't require registrations. But then, particularly in the spring, this is our second time partnering with St. Johns County in doing we call it the New Year's Trash Bash. And it is a beach cleanup that goes all the way through the coastline of St. Johns County. I can't even remember how many locations we have, but we've already had over 100 people from the community sign up for that. And that's a huge service and opportunity for us. And it's also a lot of fun just having to walk on the beach, even if you are picking up trash. It's a very nice day. So yeah, we have a lot of opportunities for the community to volunteer. And in particular, Chuck is heading up a project this spring, and it's a first for us, and it's through the Putnam County Parks and Rec Department. So Chuck, if you want to talk more about that, that would be great.
Ooh. Yeah, what are we doing with them?
So, and I guess just to give a little background on my experience with the Viking Days of Service, I started here in the fall of 2021 after the fall spring into service. So my first experience was the spring event, which we did a cleanup here around the campus and did a walk of the perimeter, picking up interesting items along the side of the road. I did a similar event the following semester at the Workforce Training Center here in Palatka. And so last fall, I've become very involved with the Palatka Babe Ruth. And I've got, all four of my children have played or are currently playing in that with that organization. And so we arranged for a project at the Francis Sports Complex here on St. John's, just down the road from the college. And with that, we had the Vikings baseball team came out and did a whole bunch of field work with us, and it was a really terrific experience getting them involved with one of our community organizations. Ross Jones, the head baseball coach and athletic director, and his assistants sort of came out and told us, the people who were in charge of the Babe Ruth, that what we needed to do to get the fields in order, and they really took charge and did a great job. But with that, we also had members of the Parks and Rec department here in Putnam County, who they're tasked with the day-to-day maintenance of those parks, and so they also brought a crew out. So between the group of us from the Palatka Babe Ruth, the Vikings baseball team, and the Putnam County Parks and Rec team, we had quite a good crew out there, and there's 6 fields out there. We did maintenance on all of them, and it was just a terrific partnership that we formed. And the the head of that department is Chris Leduc, who also, interestingly enough, played for Ross at one point in his life. So again, we're making connections with within the community, which I think is a big part of what we're trying to do with this program. So Chris then, reached out as after forming that relationship this semester, and he proposed a couple of projects that he needs assistance with, and again, so since he and his crew were such a big help for us in the fall, we wanted to do the same for them, and so they've got a couple of programs. One is in the morning from 9 to noon, and the other is in the afternoon from 1 to 4 sessions. And they're going to be, doing some maintenance at other parks, spreading mulch, doing other things, around the playgrounds to get their playgrounds in order. Similar, I think, to the beach bash cleanup. We're coming out of winter months, and people are going to start coming out and using those parks. So they want to get out there and spread mulch, do some basic maintenance stuff there. And so they've asked for our assistance in that. Now we've got a few volunteers already, a couple of co-captains that will be helping out with those events, but we're definitely looking for some additional help. And I should add in that the facilities team from St. John's River State College also helped with the ball field project, and so I've let them know this was going on again, because again, they did such a great job with bringing out some of their equipment and some of the work that we did out there together. So, but we're looking for volunteers, as many as are available. They'll be at different parks around Putnam County, and Chris will organize that. But that's the basic plan, is to go out and do some maintenance so that the parks are ready to go for the kids as they come out, as the weather gets better.
Which those parks are constantly in use, so it's always a good idea to be able to have those nice and ready for them. That's amazing. And that's just for people who want to get involved on that one. They would just go on the website. I'm going to say that a few times this morning just to make sure we cover it. Just go on the library website and sign up. Perfect.
Actually, go to the college website. Just go to sjrstate.edu and then click on the community link. And there's a drop-down menu there, and you'll see Viking Days of Service listed. And that will bring you to the homepage on the college's website. And then you'll see a link that has the fall 2024 projects. You just click on that, and it'll open a lovely website with all of the information there. One other project that we are looking for volunteers for is also the Arc of Putnam County project. And that's also a 2-session project. So there's a 9 to 12 session, and then there's a 1 to 4 session. They've been moving their facilities around, and so they need some help getting some of their new spaces set up. So that's what those 2 projects are. So those are 2 of our big ones that we're still looking for volunteers. But again, anything that people want to help with, we'd be happy to have them on board.
There's a crazy amount of different options for people to join into. Do you remember off the top of your hand how many there are?
There's 27 for fall into service across our 3 counties. And the other thing is we also are looking for projects all year round. So again, we do this twice a year, in the fall and the spring, but our registration form to submit a project proposal will be open all year. So that will be on that same webpage very soon, if not by the end of the day, probably by tomorrow. So if you are a community organization that could use some help, please go ahead and look at that. We'd be happy to review your proposal. And what we do for those is we provide volunteers, and we also can provide obviously some promotion of your event, which also then is promotion for your organization. So we provide the people and we recruit them, but that's as far as we can go. So all the projects that get submitted, we do need the organizations themselves to provide any supplies or funds that go along with completing those projects, but we'll provide all the manpower that we can get our hands on.
And there's always a surplus of that manpower on campus. We're always looking for ways to do it. So that's an amazing option. I know all of our athletics teams, you mentioned the baseball team helping with the parks here locally. Last year I worked with the volleyball team out at the waterworks, and I think I've done something with softball team as well. They're always pitching. It's always fun to see all the teams coming together. So one of my favorite projects that we've always repeated is the restocking of the Viking Exchange. I know that was a former baby of yours, but are we going to be repeating that restocking? And could you tell everybody a little bit about it?
Of course, yeah. The Viking Exchange started after 2020, I want to say. And actually, it was a need that was recognized by staff members, particularly on our Palaca campus, that we had a lot of students facing food insecurity. And they couldn't necessarily, buy food from the junk machines, as I call them, snack machines, I guess I should say. And so, it's really hard to learn if you're hungry. And so as a kind of grassroots movement, the employees at Ashara State started the Viking Exchange, which is to provide food for our students, but just to get them either through the day or through the week, to their next paycheck. And it grew out of there. Now that initiative has been taken over by our Student Ombuds Office, which is through this Office of Student Affairs, and they have taken the ball and ran with it. So it is bigger than ever, and it's really fantastic, and they are always looking for donations. So while that isn't a project that's listed on our Viking Days of Service page, I know that they always welcome donations from the community for that. And if the community is interested, you can always just bring those donations to the Student Center on your campus, and nothing will go to waste. It will all find a home.
Yes, it's always a joy to see those closets stocked and the students being able to, when they realize it's there, it's kind of one of those, once you realize it's there, the kind of relief that they feel to get through the day, it's always a good thing. And I love the Ombuds. We've actually interviewed them as well. I can't support what they do enough. I love that.
Yeah.
How has Vikings Days of Service positively impact the local communities over the years? Is there specific success stories that you've seen that you love to bring up?
The way I know that it's been a success is that we have so many organizations that come back to us for every event. So that makes my heart happy. It lets me know that we are truly providing, a service to those organizations that they need in terms of the people and services that we can provide. But that, again, it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. I hear more from our staff who participate in the Viking Days of Service projects, and beyond just the good that you feel giving back to your community, the biggest really, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? The biggest, I don't want to say payback because that sounds wrong. Benefit, sorry. Okay. The biggest benefit that we've seen in terms of our employees is camaraderie. It gives us a way to get together in a way that we just couldn't do day to day. We're all so busy. But the Days of Service kind of gives us a time to take a minute and work with people in other areas of the college that we may never have spoken to before, even though we're a smaller college. Again, we all have our own stuff going on. We don't always have time to visit. So it's really great to meet people, because when Chuck mentioned that his first service project, it was Keep Putnam Beautiful. So we were doing a road cleanup around the college, and poor Chuck, he'd been here like, I don't know, 3 days. And we've got him out there with a glowing vest on and a garbage picker upper and a garbage bag. And to say we found some interesting things on the streets is an understatement. But it was great because then we could see, it's kind of a trial by fire. It's like, oh, how's our director of HR gonna react to finding that? And it was great because that's how I got to know, like, okay, Chuck's a great guy and he's funny and like he could deal with it. And that was something it would have taken ages to figure out, if I had just had my day-to-day interactions with him. So selfishly, it's great for the college because again, it does bring us all together in ways that would never get together otherwise. And we just learn so much about each other in that kind of setting that, like, to me, that's the biggest benefit internally. But again, of course, those relationships, and again, like Chuck was saying, we've created some relationships with these external agencies that have in turn impacted our students in a great way. And the beach cleanup is an example of that because that is actually through St. Johns County's solid waste division. And because of that and our work with Matthew Denny, he let us know that, like, he thought there might be some internship opportunities or ways for our students who are in the work study program to possibly work with St. Johns County. And so I was able to connect him with Chuck and they could start those conversations. And that never would have happened if we didn't have these days of service.
It's
Yeah, and
fun to
just
always
to
see where
add,
the circles overlap. I'm sorry, Chuck,
Yeah.
what you were saying?
yeah, I was just gonna say, just to add to that too, going back to, getting to know, that was a good opportunity to get to know me, but it was a good opportunity for me to get to know the college too. And one of the things that was impressive was the support that the administration gave to this. It's not often that an employer will say, yes, be away from your desk for 4 hours to do something, but here it's not only supported, but it's encouraged. And that was really, really an interesting learning experience again for me, walking in the door and seeing, wow, there really is a commitment to these communities where we have a presence. And so I thought that was a great thing. And again, between Dr. Will and I and the rest of the administration here. We strongly encourage our employees to find a project that they can have some passion in, or even just that they're interested in learning more about and taking part in that. So that was a great learning experience. But yes, I'm glad that Dr. Will brought up again how we can form partnerships now with these entities and how that gives us opportunities to find things for our students that they can benefit from as well. So those have been really great experiences I've had.
It is definitely interesting to see the support of us, like you're saying, leaving the desk. I kind of see it as a benefit in the fact that we hit the ground running when we come back in January. So it's almost that chance of like, let's take a breath. Let's give back and work, but let's not so much look at the computer for 4 hours. Let's take a minute because a lot of us kind of get chained to that desk when we come right back. It's amazing to kind of walk away. And thank you for
Absolutely.
bringing up the admin portion. Something I know a lot of people enjoyed seeing pictures of was the fact that our college president took place, like he always takes part in them anyway, but actually took part in the trash bash this past fall. Is that where we can find him this spring? Is that a plan?
He's being a little secretive this time. I don't know where we're going to find President Pickens, and his wife Carol always participates as well. And yeah, all of us get our hands dirty in some way, so we'll have to watch that. I need to ring his bell about that and see where he's going to sign up. Chuck, maybe he can help you mulch.
I'll twist his arm a little bit.
I didn't mean to start anything. Maybe. But I mean, it is appreciated as, a lower down the ladder person to see those folks with larger titles and larger offices they pitch in. The whole college, it's top to bottom, we're doing these events. And it's a great way in that respect to seeing the lead by example of people volunteering and being a part of it.
Yeah.
I think my very first one was when Dr. Evans was still here. When I first started, we painted a parking lot. And Dr. Evans would come in the office in a 3-piece suit every day. So to see him in jeans and his t-shirt and working with paint was a fun morning.
Right? Yeah.
Definitely a learning experience.
It's breaking down those barriers and seeing us all as the people we are. And, again, we all work at a college for the same reason. And that's because we care about people and we want to help people. And if it's, day to day, it's helping our students succeed in college. But ultimately, you're not working at a college if you're not, like, at heart, a helper. And we have a lot of helpers here at the college. So it just gives us another way to kind of, give that an outlet. And yeah, makes us all happy to do it.
Definitely those in education are definitely a service-minded folks, so it makes sense to want them to volunteer. One more time, if you guys don't mind joining me in on this one, we need extra volunteers for the Putnam Recs group, and we need them for the ARC project as well. But there's many other projects going on, and to find those projects and sign up for those either at the college or our community members that want to sign in, how would they do that again?
Go to sjrstate.edu, then click on community, and you'll see a link for Viking Days of Service.
Perfect. So again, go on our website, click on that community link, and the Viking Days of Service is there. Have I said it enough times? Definitely volunteer and join us. I think I'm jumping into 2 different projects this year just because I wanted to cover one that's a high school in a different county. So it's exciting to kind of be able to jump around and see the different people in the different campuses that way too. So something's available all over Northeast Florida in our area. So no matter where you're listening from, feel free to join in and volunteer. Have I called for volunteers enough?
And if you're like Mickey and you want to volunteer for more than one project, there's 2 different times you can choose for the Putnam Rec project. So, feel free to jump in on either one of those.
But I figured I maybe should make the Arbor Day one at the beginning here on Plaquemines since I'm on that tree committee, actually do something with the committee I'm on. And then I'm jumping over to Claire.
And I should throw out there that if you do sign up, we are giving away t-shirts. So when you sign up, you'll see that I ask for your size. It's not because I'm being nosy. It's because we're going to. Whoa, Chuck, with the t-shirt.
I was ready for the prop. All you had to do was ask. Yeah.
Thank you. They are brand spanking new also. So if you have one of the original ones with the kind of heart with the hands, that is being retired. We have an all new design, but we are limiting access to people who register for projects. So
registering for a project gets you a new t-shirt. Always a bonus. Perfect. Good thing to put that in there at the end. I love that. Thank you for reminding me. I have to run down there and get mine before I forget.
Yes.
But unfortunately, that is all the time we have today. So thank you both for joining me this morning and sharing all this information about our Viking Days of Service. Thank you both. Thank you, the listeners, for tuning in to this episode of the Virtually Vikings. We hope you've enjoyed our insightful discussion with Dr. Will and Chuck Romer about the amazing community service event with St. John's River State College. Remember, anyone is welcome to participate in these events. If you'd like to volunteer, you can find out more on the SJR State website. Click on Community and then Vikings Days of Service. One more reminder. If you have any questions,
so much, Mickey.
Yes. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in a future episode, we'd love to hear from you. Please reach out to us at virtuallyvikings@sjrstate.edu or any of the SJR State social media accounts. Your feedback and suggestions are always welcome. Remember, whether you're looking to start a new career, advance in your current one, or simply explore new projects, SJR State has the resources and support you need to succeed. We're here to help you every step of the way. Until next time, go Vikings!